financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Hi, welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. We're going to cover and talk about in this segment who needs an estate plan. I've got with me Eric Licks, not a special guest, a returning regular from Thav Gross. He's our estate planning expert, along with our cohorts, David Einstandig in the suave suede coat, and Brian Small.
I'm really glad that nobody pays attention to what I wear. Thank God.
Well, when you wear the Snoopy sweatshirt, we did pay attention to it.
And
Where is the Snoopy sweater?
The Snoopy sweater was retired 18 years ago. Unfortunately, you guys either have long memories or really nothing better to do
Where
in your
is
life.
it? When you say retired, does that mean discarded?
It was donated. I never discard clothing. I always
To the
donate.
Smithsonian?
I want to get into estate planning with Eric, but I'm going to tell you something right now because I have a young grandson, which means I see Disneyland in my horizon once again at some point in the next 5 years.
Snoopy isn't at Disney, but go on.
Oh, it's not?
No.
I think you
Mickey
can still
Mouse
get,
is at Disney.
Oh.
Snoopy's at,
I was going to
Cedar
pick up
Point.
a Snoopy. Okay. Well, maybe I'll find one anyway. Okay. Eric.
Yes.
So I want to cover the basics of estate planning. Someone called me actually recently and said, "You know what? You guys have talked a lot on the show about elder law, which is dealing with Medicaid planning. We bring Pat Simasco in to talk about that. But you really haven't covered in a long time, and we've never covered on the TV version of the show, basic estate planning, which is still the dominant, bigger force. The
Right.
Medicaid planning comes at the end stage, but if you're in your 30s and 40s, you need an estate plan. So I thought it would be a great thing to get together and kind of walk through that. And the first concept is, who needs an estate plan?
Well, really, in my opinion, I used to say that really everyone, with the exception possibly of college-age kids, can benefit from a estate plan. You know, whether you're a young family starting out and you're having a child, you need an estate plan because you need to appoint guardianships for your minor children. Once you're employed, you start accumulating assets. Maybe you've got life insurance policies. Maybe you've got 401ks. You start having assets. Well, then you want to make sure that those young children don't just receive an inheritance when they're too young and irresponsible to handle it. So then you're concerned with maybe having an estate plan to protect assets until the kids are older. And that's
As you get older.
Yeah, as you get older, you're still concerned. Now you've maybe accumulated different types of assets. Maybe now you've got real estate and cottages and things like that. So really, no matter what stage in life you're at, you know, you want to have an estate plan. The focus changes. Maybe even when you're older, you've talked about Medicaid planning, but you know, even just having good, solid powers of attorney and wills and trusts is important. Now, I even see people who want to have estate plans when they have children in college, for various reasons. Sometimes, you know, the children want to have access to mom and dad's bank accounts, so they have money for spending at college. Sometimes the kids, you know, the parents want to have healthcare powers of attorney. So if, God forbid, something happens to the child at college, someone can handle decisions for them. I've even seen it where parents want the children to provide them financial powers of attorney so that the parents can get class transcripts and report cards and verify that the children are actually going to class and getting the grades.
There's a shift there, so the parents can exercise effectively more control over the children. They have an estate plan for the children.
Right.
But I think historically the biggest, the first cut point is you're out of college, you're married, and you have kids. At that point, you've got to really worry about the guardianship
Absolutely.
issue. What happens if both parents go down in the plane? Something happens to them.
Right.
Who's going to take care of the kids?
That's where the guardianship comes in. But
Like,
really, just
Go on.
Shouldn't we start though? I mean, obviously, estate planning has multiple documents, and I was thinking about this the other day. Isn't for your 18-year-old who's in college, shouldn't that 18-year-old at least have a patient advocate designation form filled out? I mean, because you think as the parent, you get to make the decisions for your kid, but they're not a kid anymore at the age of 18.
All right. Well, don't let the cart get too far ahead of the horse, because I want to say what a patient advocate form is. But in real quick words, what is an estate plan? What does it
So
accomplish?
really, estate planning is using various documents to achieve important goals. And some of those goals, they range from avoiding probate court, avoiding taxes. And when we're talking about taxes, we're not just talking about estate taxes. We're talking about capital gains taxes, gift taxes, and even income taxes, potentially on retirement accounts.
Right. But in the broader sense is what I'm looking for. The estate plan is the device and the mechanism used to pass your assets on upon your demise. Would that be a fair statement, or is that too
partial?
No, that's part of it, to transfer assets when and where you want them to go, but also to make sure your medical wishes are carried out during your lifetime.
While you're alive.
And if you become disabled, someone can pay your bills and handle financial affairs and make arrangements for you.
So I would think of it quickly as it's your life's plan for your family, and there's economic and money issues on one hand, and then there's what happens if I'm not here, and who's going to make health and life decisions for myself if I'm incapacitated, or my kids.
Yeah,
that's your
while
estate plan.
living if incapacitated, and then upon
overall,
death
that's the crow's eye view.
Let's talk about the components, and I'll cue you in as to what areas I want to look at first. People generally think of the last will and testament as their estate plan. Now, I would say that's a component, but that shouldn't be the entire plan. But what is the will in and of itself?
Really, a will is just a document that explains where you want your things to go, and all it is instructions to a probate court judge. Please distribute my things this way.
All right, now you're prompting a word that I want to know. What is probate? What is probate court?
Probate court is a court that has jurisdiction over decedents' estates, so estates when someone passes away, and over conservatorships and guardianships for people that are alive but disabled. So a probate court.
I get to go to probate court when I die? What's the story? Is that like something to look forward to?
Well,
hey, I got free tickets
it gets
to
kind of
court?
complicated, but essentially, if you've got an asset that doesn't have anywhere to go, like, for example, if I've got a bank account with $1,000 in it, and it's only in my name, and I die, my wife, Jody, can't go to the bank and say, give me that $1,000. The bank has to lock it down.
Probate court has, in my mind, two basic functions. One, it's a method to transfer title when an asset is not planned for otherwise in an estate plan.
Right.
So it's a method to transfer title on one hand. On the other hand, it deals with guardianship and conservatorship issues. That's probate.
So if you have a fight, you have family member says the other person's incapacitated, and and the person doesn't think they're incapacitated, probate takes care of those things. But the bottom line is,
you could lose a basketball team over it.
People talk about avoiding probate all the time, and we come back from the break. I want you to explain, why do they say that? Why do you want to? What's so bad about probate?
Okay.
We'll be back after the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Every family has the family meeting, and we all know what that means. Dad's got dementia. What are we going to do? What's the care plan that the family has in place? Usually they don't, or they struggle with a care plan. When you go home tonight and you talk to your tax person and you talk to your financial person, say, what's the plan that you have in place? And as soon as they don't give you an answer, give me a call, because I can do it for you.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. All right, we're with Eric Glick. He's the estate planning expert at Thav Gross, along with Brian Small and Dave Einstanding, and we're walking through basics of estate planning. Before we went to the break, the concept we introduced what a will is, and we talked about probate, and you have to go to probate court. You hear all the time you want to avoid probate. Why? What is it that you want to avoid by avoiding probate? Why is it that you want to avoid probate? What's so bad about it?
Well, you got to remember, there's really there's three ways to pass an estate. One is not to have anything at all, in which case there's the state of Michigan intestacy laws. It's based on family relationship.
Not like not have any money,
no
but not
trust,
have anything provided
no
for.
No plan.
Okay.
The state has written one for you. And it's based on family relationships, so it's very rigid. It's spouse, it's children, then it goes back up to parents, siblings. That's very rigid, and your beneficiaries get the money at 18, and you've got to go through probate court.
Okay.
A will gives you more flexibility. You can write down whatever you want in a will, but you've still got to go to probate court. So the reason we want to avoid probate court typically is, number one, probate court takes time. It usually, even if things go very smoothly, it could take 8 to 14 months to settle an estate.
Okay.
Also, probate court has its own fees associated with it.
Plus,
so
you need a lawyer.
You don't need a lawyer, but technically, the court clerks are not, and court employees are not allowed to give legal advice. And probate court can be very time-consuming and very complex if you don't know what you're doing.
You're talking about a lot of time, cost, and hassle.
Right. But even if you don't have an attorney, probate court still has its cost. It's got a cost to open a probate estate, and then it's got what they call an inventory fee, which is a percentage fee based on the size of the estate. And also, depending on where you are and the size of the estate, it's not uncommon for a surety bond to have to be posted.
Okay. So the goal is, those are reasons to avoid probate. And what's the mechanism that you use in estate planning to avoid probate? Is that what they talk about with the revocable living trust?
It is. But one other thing, probate court is also public. Anything that gets filed with the probate court, which if you're in probate court, everything has to be filed, is public record.
So if you want to keep your business private, you got to stay out of probate.
I have a collection of celebrity wills, right? And even though my will might not be on TMZ.com, anyone who wants to walk into the probate court can look at my will, look at the inventory of all my assets, which are going to show bank accounts, amount of money there, all the terms of the distributions and things like that. So oftentimes people want to keep those private.
Yeah, I would think most. They want to keep. They think about they want it to be private after they've died. That's for sure. But even if they became incapacitated,
so why, if somebody goes to the effort of hiring a lawyer to draft a will, why would any lawyer ever suggest only having a will?
Well, there's two schools of thought on that. One is some people, and very small circumstances, may only need a will. The time I do a will only is when someone doesn't have any assets that are going to pass by a will. So what does that mean? If someone comes to me and they live in an apartment and all they have is Social Security that gets deposited into a bank account and the bank account never has more than $1,000 in it, they don't need to have a trust. They can have a will because we can name a beneficiary for that bank account. And you avoid probate
Eric.
court.
Even if they had, hold on, nothing. No. Even if they had $10,000 or $20 or $30 or $40 or $100,000 in the account, you can designate that account payable on death. Therefore, you don't need probate. There's nothing that's
you got to be
go
careful though.
probate.
At some level, there's a point where it doesn't make sense to use these self-help measures. You don't want to put kids on bank accounts. You don't want to put kids on real estate. But at some level, if you've got an account with 1,000 or 5,000,
I don't want you
maybe,
to mix up that it's just an economic.
But designation at death doesn't cover what happens if that person becomes incapacitated while living.
Right.
Then you at least need a durable power of attorney to take care of the living
But
part.
to get back
but I
to
wanna-
Brian's answer, though, is the other reason.
I'd rather even hold off on we'll incorporate the answer into explain to me what a revocable living trust is, because that's the dominant document we're talking about.
So a trust is a way to avoid probate court because you don't need to go to the probate court to have order signed to transfer your assets. If you use a revocable trust, it's a separate entity. It's separate and distinct from the person that creates it. It's like a business, like a corporation or an LLC. So, for example, when Alan Mullally leaves Ford, Ford doesn't close down. Someone else steps in and takes over. A trust is the same way. The person that creates it is in charge. You know, if I create a trust, I'm in charge, and everything is
You're the
still
grantor.
mine, right? The grantor and the trustee. But
Trustee's
upon
the one who executes and takes care of
who
doing the
uses
trust.
it and who operates the company. I'm the owner of
what's the
my company.
beneficiary?
The beneficiary is me as long as I'm alive, and then it's in my case my wife or my children upon my death.
All right, so
but the
this is-
point is that the trust has perpetual life. So as long as I'm alive and well, I'm in charge.
All
But
right,
if
well-
I'm not alive or not well, the successor trustee steps in, and the trust is their contract of what they have to do.
Is this a fair way to summarize it? Is when you do a will, the will writes out and says where you want to leave your assets and what's to happen when you die. When you do a trust, you cover two things. While you're living, these are the rules, and you're the person who makes the rules because you're the grantor and the trustee. And it covers the issue of if you're incapacitated, you can name a successor to take over for you. And then when you die, it also covers, just like a will, where the assets go. The difference is if the assets have been put into the trust, then it doesn't go through probate.
That's right.
Okay.
And there's
That's
a
right.
check and balance, Eric, when you have a will and a trust, correct?
Well, even when we have trust, we always use what's called a pour-over will, because there could be circumstances where you forget to put something into your trust. You know, you have that Christmas Club account from 20 years ago you forgot about, or you had that life insurance policy from your first job and you named your parents as beneficiary and they're
Plus,
gone now.
if you have minor children in that pour-over will, you do your guardianship
That's right.
designation.
Right. So it's your safety net to get it in.
Right, as long as your trust is funded, the will's never used, but it's there just as a precaution.
And a lot of times funding is an issue. People create the trust, but they don't get around to putting the assets into
People
the trust.
come to see me all the time. It's something we're very conscious of. We don't create documents and have clients sign documents and then send them along their merry way. I mean, we go to the next level, phase 2, which is helping fund the trust. Because I can't tell you how many people come in to see me that haven't put their business into the trust, haven't put their accounts into the trust, and now we've got to go to probate court, which was one of the things we wanted to avoid in the first place.
Hold on, equally as important and also devastating if not done correctly is when you're funding the trust, you need to determine what should not be in the trust and is going to transfer independently, like life insurance or things of that nature, because you may not want those in the trust, but they're not going to be in probate if they're properly set up with beneficiaries.
When we talk all the time about being careful
Good
about
points.
what goes into your trust, simply because maybe you have a house that's upside down, you don't want to have that negative asset go into your trust and have your
or suppose
assets pay
husband
for
had-
your debts.
Suppose husband has a big tax liability. It would be smarter to have the proceeds of insurance be paid directly to his wife, so it never goes into his estate.
you could
at
save
death.
$1 million that way.
You get lots of issues.
Lots
When we
of
come back,
choices.
I want to go through the rest of the documents that go into an estate plan. We'll be back after the break.
It's devastating. The effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
Every family has the family meeting, and we all know what that means. Dad's got dementia. What are we going to do? What's the care plan that the family has in place? Usually they don't, or they struggle with a care plan. When you go home tonight and you talk to your tax person and you talk to your financial person, say, what's the plan that you have in place? And as soon as they don't give you an answer, give me a call, because I can do it for you.
All right, welcome back. Eric Glick, our estate planning experts, walking us through the elements of an estate plan. I want to go through the rest of the documents. Before I do that, let me give announcements. Upcoming seminars. It's time to end debt now. There's one coming up February 24th. If you're watching this segment of the show, it's probably already past that date. But the next one coming up is March 25th, called Debt Free This Year. These seminars focus on how to preserve future income for you and your family. If you're carrying too much credit card debt, it's a waste of money. If you've got issues with your house underwater, rental property underwater, tax problems, all of those issues are covered. It's an hour-and-a-half seminar, extremely informative, free. You get a free copy of my book. Our seminars are very well attended and extremely well received. People enjoy them. They're kind of uplifting. It's kind of a situation where you realize it's not about the debt, it's about the future, and that's the smart play. If you want to sign up for them, they are from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at our offices in Bingham Farms. Go to thavgross.com or lawandreality.com, or you can call 888-235-HELP. We've got free reports, Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Samasco. You can download that at ssifreereport.com. Reg X Special Report, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, The Hidden Secrets. That is at regxhomesaver.com. That's written by me. It's a good report showing the tools that we use and that are available to you to gain a modification, short sell the home, avoid foreclosure. Financial Crisis Analyzer is available on the Law and Reality website. You put in your data and it gives you back a report instantly on what your options are in terms of whether bankruptcy is right, settling credit card debt outside of bankruptcy, doing a short sell, whether you would qualify for a loan modification or not. All your data is private. We don't lend it to anybody. We don't lease it. We don't rent it. We don't sell it. We don't do anything with it. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Samasco Law, upcoming sponsors, Cardiology Associates of Michigan, Farmington Hills Dental Clinic with Fadia Soft PC. Back to estate planning with Eric. Now, so we've talked about the revocable living trust and we've talked about the will. Tell me what what a durable power of attorney is, because that's another document that I always hear is an essential document in an estate plan.
It is. Well, what that does is that document appoints someone to handle financial affairs, to pay bills, to make arrangements for someone if they're alive but they become disabled, meaning they're mentally incompetent to handle their own affairs. And if you don't have the power of attorney and you sign it and create it while you are competent, then the family's got to run to probate court. And this is the other.
So someone can step in for you. Does it kind of mirror a little bit the provision in the trust that says if you're incapacitated while living in the revocable living trust, the successor trustee can take over?
There's some overlap, but some things by definition cannot be in the trust. Like, for example, an IRA, a 401k, a 403b. Those things need to be in the individual's name.
So the durable power covers that.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, the other thing to remember on the power of attorney is there was a change in the law in October of 2012, which really now your agents are required to sign an acceptance of the power of attorney. So
old ones should be updated.
Right.
All right. Quickly, a patient advocate designation, because we're running out of time and I want to get to a special. What's a patient advocate designation as opposed to a durable power of attorney?
Just like it sounds, it does two things. It specifies your wishes, what you want to have happen if there's that worst case scenario, like an irreversible coma, precision vegetative state.
Is that what you use in the hospital with no codes and stuff like that?
That would be like a DNR, do not resuscitate. But this is just, do you want to be kept alive by artificial means or not? So you specify your wishes. And if it's not that extreme, you're just appointing patient advocates to make decisions for you.
And keep in mind, the key is quickly here is the patient advocate is supposed to carry out your wishes, not their wishes.
Right.
They're your wishes.
So pick the right person.
I want to run through some quick misconceptions about estate planning that Eric provided to me, but I just want to put them out here because we're running out of time and I want to announce it as special. False. Estate planning is not only for the extremely wealthy, for the reasons that we talked about earlier. Estate planning costs too much money. Wrong. A comprehensive estate plan is not that expensive. A revocable trust is far more expensive than a will. Wrong. The essence of an estate plan is meeting with the attorney and figuring out what's right. Generation of the documents is not the expensive part. It's getting it right to make sure the documents say the right thing. Now, I'm going to announce a special, probably news to Eric, but we're going to have a Waiting for Springtime estate plan special at Thavgross. The regular cost of our estate plan is $1,495. That's for the husband and wife, pour-over wills, revocable living trust, durable power of attorney, healthcare power, and a document locator and assignment. We're going to have a Law and Reality special, 40% discount, $895. You must sign up and mention Law and Reality when you call our offices at 888-235-HELP, or starting next week, you can sign up online. Go to the website starting at the mid-February point. You'll be able to sign up online for an appointment. You must sign up by March 20th. It's a before spring special in order to get the 40% discount at $895. Time payment will also be allowed if needed. I think everyone should have an estate plan. I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to get one. There are some small restrictions and limitations if you've got an inherently complicated estate. But your basic estate plan, everyone should have. It's the important thing. It's the right thing. Eric, I want to thank you for being back on the show again. We're going to have you back more. We're going to have to.
All right, it's good to be here.
We're going to have to go through this information in a lot more detail in the future. Brian, as always, it's a pleasure. David, you're the best. You didn't pick on my clothes this last segment. I'm so happy. Everybody have a great week. Drive safe. Stay warm. We'll be back with the next segment of Law and Reality.